Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another video here on the SSA Philosophy channel, where we dive into the philosophy of characters from video games to TV shows to movies, etc., etc. So, in today's video, we are going to be going over the philosophy of the character known as Tommy Vercetti from GTA Vice City. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, let us not waste any time. Let us go right on ahead and let us get started. Tommy Vercetti, the iconic protagonist of Grand Theft Auto Vice City, stands as a symbol of chaos and ambition wrapped in a veneer of 1980s neon soaked allure. Born into a world of crime and brutality, Vercetti is more than just a video game anti hero. He represents a philosophical archetype of self determination, power, and moral ambiguity. His story transcends the digital boundaries of Vice City, inviting players and critics alike to question the nature of ambition, loyalty, and existential purpose. At his core, Tommy is a paradox, a ruthless criminal who values loyalty, an ambitious kingpin with a disdain for betrayal, and a man who achieves power by defying traditional structures, yet is chained to his past. He's a character whose philosophy emerges not through grandiose soliloquies, but through his actions, decisions, and relationships. Like a modern day Macbeth in a Hawaiian shirt, Tommy's rise to power is as much as a study of hubris and ambition as it is a commentary on the human condition. At the heart of Tommy Vercetti's philosophy is an insatiable ambition, a Nietzschean will to power that propels him from a lackey for the Forelli crime family to the undisputed ruler of Vice City's underworld. Ambition for Tommy is not merely a desire for wealth or power, it is an existential necessity. He does not he doesn't just want to succeed, he must succeed to validate his existence after years of imprisonment. Tommy's ambition is rooted in his past, shaped by betrayal, hardship, and survival. After spending 15 years in prison for the Forelli family, his release sets him on a path not just to reclaim his life, but to transcend the limits imposed on him. His ambition, therefore, is not blind greed, but a response to a world that demands adaptation to thrive. So, ambition for Tommy it isn't static. It evolves as he moves from being a pawn of the Forelli crime family to a kingpin ruling Vice City. His journey demonstrates that ambition is less about the end goal and more about the process of seizing opportunities and redefining power structure. So, key examples of this is for the first example, when the drug deal with the Vance brothers goes south, Tommy doesn't retreat. So, instead, what he does is he uses the chaos as a springboard to establish his influence. And second thing is he builds alliances with characters such as Lance Vance, Avery Carrington, and uses them strategically. But his ambition ensures that he's always the dominant player. For Tommy, relationships are tools for growth, not anchors to loyalty. And also, thirdly, his acquisition of businesses like the Malibu Club, and the Print Works signifies a shift from survival to dominance, showcasing ambition as a vehicle for transformation. So, Tommy's philosophy reveals that ambition is inherently tied to conflict, not just with external enemies, but also within oneself. His empire building is marked by betrayals, power struggles, and the constant balancing act of trust versus pragmatism. So, when it comes to betrayal as a catalyst, so Lance Vance's betrayal reflects the fragile nature of alliances in a world driven by ambition. Tommy's ultimate triumph over Lance solidifies his belief that true power lies in being self reliant. And when it comes to an internal conflict, while his ambition drives him, it isolates Tommy. His rise to power is accompanied by the erosion of personal connections and a growing sense of paranoia. And this reflects the existential cost of unrelenting ambition. The higher that one climbs, the lonelier it becomes. Tommy's ambition is strikingly amoral. Unlike fictional empires driven by ideology or altruism, Tommy's empire is purely self-serving. However, this lack of moral rigidity gives his ambition a unique flexibility. He isn't weighed down by lofty ideals, but instead adapts to Vice City's chaotic dog eat dog environment. And when it comes to his contrast with idealistic characters, one is someone like Michael Corleone. So, whereas someone like Michael Corleone from the Godfather series struggles with moral conflicts, Tommy operates in a moral vacuum, making him more effective in the ruthless landscape of Vice City. By the end of GTA Vice City, Tommy has transformed from a foot soldier into a kingpin. His empire is not just a collection of assets, but a reflection of his identity, a testament to his ability to control his destiny. His rise mirrors the concept of becoming in existential philosophy, where the individual defines their essence through actions. Tommy's empire is less about the wealth or the power itself and more about the affirmation of his existence and potential and the dynamic implications of ambition itself. So, Tommy's ambition, while monumental, it is never static because it constantly reacts to and reshapes his environment. Vice City is alive. It's a chaotic web of criminal elements, corrupt officials, and opportunists. Tommy thrives in this chaos, proving that ambition must be adaptive, resilient, and relentless. So, for being adaptive, he seizes every opportunity, even those born from failure. And when it comes to being resilient, he survives betrayal and loss, using them as stepping stones. And when it comes to being relentless, his ambition is never satisfied, pushing him toward perpetual expansion. Tommy's rise is marked by a ruthless pragmatism. In his view, the world is a zero sum game, and survival demands domination. This philosophy echoes the writings of Thomas Hobbes, who described life as nasty, brutish, and short, in the absence of a strong governing force. For Tommy, he is that governing force, shaping Vice City in his image through calculated violence and strategic alliances. Yet his ambition also blinds him to the cost of his actions, as the pursuit of power often leaves a trail of broken relationships and shattered lives. Tommy places a high premium on loyalty, but his understanding of the concept is both transactional and deeply flawed. Loyalty, in his eyes, is a currency to be earned and spent, rather than a virtue to be upheld unconditionally. This perspective is evident in his relationship with Lance Vance, whose betrayal shakes Tommy to his core, not because of the act itself, but because it exposes the fragility of his trust. Tommy Vercetti's philosophy on loyalty stems from his formative experiences in Liberty City, having served 15 years in prison for the Farelli family without betraying them. He emerges with a hardened sense of duty. So loyalty to him is transactional, but also deeply personal. This principle initially governs his relationships with allies like Lance Vance and characters like Ken Rosenberg, as well as his dealings with figures such as Ricardo Diaz and Colonel Cortez. For Tommy, loyalty is not just about obligation, it's about creating a network of trust and ensuring everyone knows their place. This is evident in his meticulous handling of early partnerships, where he rewards competence and punishes disloyalty without hesitation. He believes loyalty is a cornerstone for any lasting enterprise, but his pragmatic view creates cracks in the foundation of his philosophy, particularly when ambition and betrayal surface. Despite Tommy's commitment to loyalty, cracks in his approach become evident as he ascends the ranks of Vice City's criminal hierarchy. Two pivotal moments exemplify these fractures. Number one is Ricardo Diaz. So, Tommy initially aligns himself with Diaz, the drug lord controlling Vice City. While Tommy presents himself as a loyal lieutenant, his loyalty is purely a facade. When Diaz's incompetence and ruthlessness threaten Tommy's goals, he and Lance Vance conspire to overthrow him. And this act underscores a critical flaw in Tommy's philosophy, that loyalty is contingent upon mutual benefit. And another also involves Lance Vance. So the relationship with Lance Vance is where the cracks in his philosophy deepen the most, because Lance initially earns Tommy's respect through their shared goal of overthrowing Diaz. However, as Tommy consolidates power, Lance becomes increasingly insecure, feeling marginalized and unappreciated. Now, this insecurity leads Lance to betray Tommy, aligning with Sonny Forelli in a final act of treachery. Tommy's failure to recognize and address Lance's growing discontent highlights a critical blind spot. His transactional view of loyalty overlooks the emotional complexities of those around him. To Tommy, loyalty is black and white, a contract of mutual benefit. To others, it is personal and is tied to a sense of belonging and respect. So this disconnect is what ultimately brings the conflict between Tommy and Lance to a violent head.
Yeah! Yeah! Ah! Stupid horse! I'll chop your head off! Ah! Who is this thickhead?
Tommy Vercetti. You remember me.
Excuse me, I'm a little anxious. Never trust a goddamn horse! You do a good job. You work for me now.
I work for money.
As I said, amigo, you work for me now.
I work
Shut
for
up! Some Judas has betrayed me. He thinks I don't know how much money I should be making. But stealing 3% is as good as stealing 100%. No one does this to me. No one. You follow him from his apartment, and you see where he goes. Later, we will kill him. You stupid pricks! My beautiful house! Look what you've done to it!
This is for my brother!
I trusted you, Tommy. I would have had you made.
Say goodnight, Mr. Diaz. You know, Tommy, I did what I could for you. I pulled strings, called in favors. I was your friend, Tommy. I hoped you'd see sense, see what's good for business. I trusted you, Tommy, and you disappointed me. But at least someone in your chicken shit organization knows how to do business. Isn't that right, Lance?
Sorry, Tommy. This is Vice City. This is business.
You sold us out.
No, I sold you out, Tommy. I sold you out. The real cash is upstairs in the safe.
So, Tommy, what was the big plan? You think I just take the fake cash, save face, and run away with my tail between my legs?
No. I just wanted to piss you off before I kill you.
So Tommy's philosophy on loyalty is, once again, it is not static at all whatsoever, because it evolves throughout the game as he navigates the chaotic world of Vice City. His initial unwavering commitment to loyalty, it shifts toward a more self-serving interpretation. However, this evolution is not without costs, because there are strengths and there are weaknesses to this. So when it comes to strengths, Tommy's ability to demand and enforce loyalty allows him to build a formidable empire. His decisiveness in dealing with traitors like Sonny Forelli secures his position as Vice City's criminal overlord. But weaknesses, though, on the other hand, is his reliance on loyalty. So his reliance on loyalty as a transactional tool creates vulnerability. It blinds him to the emotional undercurrents of his relationships, making him susceptible to betrayal. In many ways, Tommy's philosophy on loyalty mirrors the city he controls: vibrant, opportunistic, but inherently unstable. His failure to fully reconcile the personal and pragmatic aspects of loyalty ensures that cracks in his foundation will persist, even as he reigns supreme. This transactional view of loyalty reflects an underlying cynicism. Tommy's world is one where betrayal is not just possible but inevitable. His philosophy here aligns with the Machiavellian principle that it is better to be feared than loved. For fear, unlike love, is less likely to waver. And yet, despite his hardened exterior, Tommy's need for loyalty reveals a softer, almost tragic aspect of his character, a desire for genuine human connection in a world where such connections are scarce.
What's the problem? Some bars refusing to pay. They reckon they're protected by a local gang of thugs. But don't worry, Tommy. I can handle it. You call this handling it? You two, off your asses. Let's go.
What are you doing?
Tommy, we gotta talk about stuff.
What's the problem, Lance?
It's you, my friend. I feel you're not giving me a fair slice. And more than that, you've been embarrassing me in front of the boys. I can't have that.
Lance, it ain't like that.
Give me a break.
You've been making mistakes.
What's
Tommy,
going
I'm not your message boy. I'm not your running boy.
Lance, don't screw up and we won't have any problems. I screw up, you can lay into me anytime.
What are you doing?
Tommy, I've done everything for you. You treat me like a fool. Don't do that.
Lance, I won't rip you off or stab you in the back, okay? Just take it easy. This is tough enough without you getting all emotional on me. Trust me. Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
I hear you, Tommy, but I can't take this much
What should
more.
I do about her?
Lance,
Forget about her,
don't be
Mario.
like this. Now I'm warning you. Do you hear me? Just relax.
Hey, Mario.
Take a few days off, okay? I'll talk to you.
I told myself. What are you doing? Give me a
Tommy operates within a moral framework of his own making, one that is fluid, situational, and utterly self serving. While he does not hesitate to use violence to achieve his goals, he draws the line at unnecessary cruelty or betrayal of his own principles. In this way, Tommy embodies a form of moral relativism, where right and wrong are determined not by universal truths, but by personal circumstances. At its core, Tommy's morality is deeply pragmatic. He doesn't adhere to laws or conventional ethics, but this doesn't mean he lacks a code. His decisions are driven by practicality and self interest, but they also include moments of loyalty and honor. For Tommy, morality isn't about right or wrong in the abstract sense, it's about what works in a given situation. So an example is his willingness to kill Ricardo Diaz and take over his empire. Now, this isn't framed as some act of justice, but it's really pictured. So really, it's framed as a necessary step to establish his dominance in Vice City. He operates on the principle that power must be seized and maintained by any means necessary. But betrayal to Tommy has its limits. Diaz's duplicity and greed made him a liability, not just to Tommy, but to the entire ecosystem of Vice City's underworld. Tommy's chaotic morality is tempered by a selective sense of integrity, especially when it comes to loyalty. He values loyalty highly, as seen in his relationships with Ken Rosenberg and Lance Vance, at least until Lance betrays him. Tommy's reaction to betrayal is fierce and uncompromising, suggesting that while he may operate without rules, there are lines that even he wouldn't cross without cause. So, this nuance. So, really, Tommy's loyalty isn't unconditional, it's based on reciprocity. He protects those who prove useful or loyal to him. But the moment someone becomes a threat or a liability, as Lance does, his code allows for swift and ruthless action. And this flexibility, it keeps his morality from becoming static or overly rigid. So he thrives in chaos, not because he enjoys it for its own sake, but because he understands it. The criminal underworld of Vice City is unpredictable and lawless, and Tommy's ability to adapt to this chaos is what sets him apart. His personal code embraces this unpredictability really well, allowing him to make quick, sometimes brutal decisions without being paralyzed by by moral quandaries. In a sense, Tommy's approach reflects aspects of existentialist thought. He creates his own meaning and moral framework in a world that offers none. And this makes him a figure of action rather than contemplation, a man who defines his morality by what he does, not by abstract ideals. So, despite his ruthless nature, Tommy occasionally reveals glimpses of humanity that complicate his chaotic moral framework. And these moments are rare but significant, as they suggest that his code isn't entirely devoid of empathy or conscience. So, for example, his relationship with Mercedes Cortez is laced with hints of protective care, even if it's never explicitly romantic. He doesn't exploit her vulnerabilities, but instead treats her with a degree of respect, unusual for someone in his line of work. And these moments suggest that his chaos, it has boundaries, and his morality, while fluid, isn't entirely self-serving. What makes Tommy's moral code dynamic and engaging is its adaptability. His decisions are situational and often guided by a calculus of survival and ambition. Unlike the static moral frameworks that rely on universal principles, Tommy's code evolves based on his circumstances, making it a living, breathing philosophy rather than a rigid doctrine. So this adaptability is Tommy's greatest strength, allowing him to navigate Vice City's treacherous waters. However, it also makes him unpredictable and dangerous, as his decisions can shift depending on what he perceives as necessary or beneficial at any given moment. And this chaotic morality, it raises a lot of questions about the nature of ethical decision making. And is Tommy's code, is it really any less valid than the legal system that failed him? By forging his own path, he rejects societal norms in favor of a deeply individualistic ethos, reminiscent of the existentialist philosophy of Jean Paul Sartre. So for Sartre, existence precedes essence, meaning individuals must define their own values in an otherwise indifferent universe. A sentiment Tommy seems to embody with every action that he takes. Freedom is both Tommy's greatest motivator and his most profound illusion. He believes that by taking control of Vice City, he can free himself from the shackles of his past and the influence of others. Yet the very act of seizing power comes with its own constraints. As Tommy becomes entangled in the responsibilities and dangers of ruling an empire, so Tommy's perception of freedom is rooted in his early experiences in the background. So after serving 15 years in prison for a crime committed under orders from the Ferrelli family, Tommy emerges into a world where he is seemingly free. However, his loyalty to the Ferrellis and his obligation to rebuild their operations in Vice City is what chains him to a predetermined path. So he begins the game believing that success in Vice City will grant him autonomy. However, every move that he makes, whether fighting rival gangs or appeasing his superiors, is dictated by external forces. So this sets the stage for his realization that freedom is never absolute. It is always influenced, if not outright controlled by other powers.
Hello, Sonny.
Tommy! Tommy, it's been too long. I know. You're just overwhelmed with emotion. 15 years.
Seems like only yesterday.
I guess that's a perspective thing.
Hey, doing time for the family is no piece of cake, but the family looks after its own, okay? So how'd the deal go down? You sitting on some white gold?
Look, Sonny, we were set up. The deal was an ambush. Harry and Lee are dead.
You better be kidding me, Tommy! Tell me you still got the money.
No, Sonny. I don't have the money.
That was my money, Tommy! My money! You better not be screwing me, Tommy, because you know I'm not a man to be screwed with.
Wait, Sonny.
You have my personal assurance that I'm going to get you your money back and the drugs, and I'm going to mail you the dicks of those responsible.
Hey, I already know that. You're not a fool, Tommy, but I warn you, neither am I. If it was anybody else, you'd be dead already. But because it's you, because we got history, I'm going to let you handle this.
Look, Sonny, you got my word.
I'll be in touch.
Tommy's belief in the illusion of freedom stems from his growing awareness that power, not freedom, dictates one's ability to act. So, as Tommy seizes control of Vice City's businesses and territories, he feels a growing sense of control. But this is accompanied by new dependencies on corrupt officials, loyal henchmen, and a delicate balance of alliances. So, even at the height of his power, he remains tethered to maintaining his empire. Freedom is replaced by the constant burden of control. So, this dynamic reflects the paradox of control that the more you seek to dominate, the more constrained you become by what you have to protect. So, a key aspect of Tommy's philosophy is the tension between freedom and determinism. So, Vice City, with its vibrant yet predatory atmosphere, represents a microcosm of deterministic forces. Tommy's choices, while appearing free, are often reactions to the betrayals, greed, and violence endemic to his own world. Despite these forces, he exercises a unique agency. He defies his Forelli handlers, kills Ricardo Diaz to take over his empire, and ultimately carves out his dominance. Yet, this very agency traps him in the illusion that each step toward freedom reinforces the structures that limit it. So, what makes Tommy's philosophy dynamic is its adaptability. So, Tommy understands the constraints of his world, but learns to play within them. He doesn't reject the illusion of control. Instead, he embraces it as a means to thrive. And his ability to adapt to betrayals, setbacks, and shifting power dynamics speaks to his flexible approach. He understands that freedom isn't about escaping control, but navigating it with purpose. So, Tyler's philosophy resonates beyond the criminal underworld of Vice City. In real life, the pursuit of freedom is often tied to economic success, social status, or political power. Yet these pursuits come with responsibilities and compromises that challenge the notion of true autonomy. Tommy's journey invites us to question how much of our freedom is self determined versus dictated by external systems and expectations. His pursuit of freedom echoes the myth of Sisyphus, as described by Albert Camus. Like Sisyphus, who is condemned to roll a boulder up a hill for eternity, Tommy's efforts to achieve freedom are ultimately cyclical and self-defeating. Every step he takes forward, every step he takes toward liberation binds him further to the city and its demands, leaving the question of whether true freedom is ever attainable in a world defined by power dynamics and human frailty. Tommy's journey is not just about gaining power, but about grappling with its implications. The throne of Vice City is both a reward and a burden, forcing Tommy to confront the existential weight of his choices. With great power comes great isolation, as those around him either become sycophants or threats. So, Tommy begins his journey as a man with ambition, but little direction. After being betrayed and losing his initial drug deal, his climb to power is filled by vengeance and survival. As he gains control, Tommy's world expands beyond merely securing a foothold in Vice City. The pursuit of power for him is not just about wealth or influence, it's about defining himself in a hostile, chaotic world. Early in the game, Tommy faces the existential dilemma described by Jean Paul Sartre. What kind of person will he choose to become? His choices reflect the existence, existence precedes essence idea. Tommy forges his own identity through his actions, choosing to rise as a self made man rather than remain a subordinate. So, with every decision, Tommy takes on more weight. So Sauter, he suggests that with freedom comes responsibility. And for Tommy, the freedom of the throne is a double-edged sword. He chooses to rule, but this also binds him to the constant maintenance of his empire. Philosophers like Nietzsche argue that power is inherently unstable, and Tommy exemplifies this instability. His ascent is marked by betrayal, violence, and constant challenges to his authority. The throne, while powerful, isolates him, and Tommy's allies like Lance Vance become rivals, while his enemies continuously plot to overthrow him. So, to maintain his position, Tommy must project strength at all times. So, Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch is relevant here. Tommy asserts his will to power and creates his own moral code, separate from societal norms. However, this performance also alienates him from genuine human connection. By the end of the game, Tommy is effectively alone at the top. His relationships are transactional, and even those closest to him betray him. This reflects the existential idea of the absurd, the realization that life's pursuits often lead to isolation rather than fulfillment. As the ruler of Vice City, Tommy must confront the heavy burden of his empire. Power requires vigilance and unrelenting decision making. In existentialist terms, the throne represents the weight of freedom and the consequences of his choices. So, in many ways, Tommy mirrors Sisyphus, endlessly pushing the boulder uphill. His empire requires constant maintenance. His work is never truly done. Camus suggests that one must imagine Sisyphus happy, but for Tommy, this happiness is tinged with paranoia and the threat of collapse. So, existentialist thinkers, they all stress the importance of authenticity, being true to oneself. Tommy's rise forces him to adopt roles and personas, from the violent enforcer to the charismatic leader. The tension between his authentic self and the facade that he must maintain creates an inner conflict. Tommy's power is fundamentally fragile, built on a foundation of violence and betrayal. His empire is an existential throne, symbolizing the paradox of power. It provides meaning and structure to his life, but also threatens to consume him. So, like Camus' absurd hero, Tommy defies the inherent meaninglessness of his world by imposing his own order, yet he must continually grapple with the futility of his efforts, as every triumph brings new challenges. Tommy's freedom to shape Vice City comes at the expense of his humanity. He becomes a symbol of existential power, embodying both its allure and its cost. What keeps Tommy's philosophy from being too static is its constant evolution. His journey is not linear. It's a web of successes, failures, betrayals, and realizations. The weight of the throne shifts and evolves as Tommy faces new threats, from Lance's betrayal to Sonny Forelli's return. This dynamism reflects the existential idea that life is never resolved. It's a series of choices and their consequences. So Tommy achieves what he sets out to do, but his throne is far from secure. His power is both his greatest triumph and his heaviest burden, creating a cycle of existential tension. By the end of the game, Tommy is in control, but his future is uncertain. Now, this lack of closure reinforces the existential notion that life's meaning is fluid and ever changing. This aspect of Tommy's philosophy reflects the existential themes found in the works of Friedrich Nietzsche, particularly the idea of the Übermensch or Overman. Tommy, in his rise to power, seeks to transcend conventional morality and societal expectations, creating his own destiny. Yet this transcendence comes at a cost: the loss of innocence, trust, and perhaps meaning. So what are some lessons that we can learn from Tommy Vercetti from GTA Vice City? So, first thing is seizing opportunity amid chaos. Tommy's journey teaches us the value of recognizing and capitalizing on opportunities, even in the face of adversity. When Tommy's initial drug deal is ambushed, many would have crumbled under the pressure of repaying Sonny Forelli. Instead, Tommy sees the chaos as a chance to build something greater. He understands that failure and loss are not endpoints, they are beginnings. His relentless drive to turn setbacks into stepping stones exemplifies a mindset of resilience and adaptability. For us, the lesson is clear. Life will present moments of chaos and uncertainty, but those who can adapt and seize control of their circumstances can emerge stronger and more successful. Number two, the importance of vision and strategy. Tommy's rise to power is not just about brute force, it's about vision and strategic thinking. He doesn't limit himself to a single source of power. Instead, he diversifies his empire across various industries and sectors. And this approach reflects the importance of seeing the bigger picture and planning for the long term. In life, success often comes not from short term wins, but from the ability to build something sustainable and enduring. Tommy's empire is a testament to the power of strategic enduring. Tommy's empire is a testament to the power of something that is strategic ambition, teaching us that true success it lies in creating a legacy that extends beyond monetary triumphs. Number three, the power of adaptability in an unpredictable world. One of the greatest lessons we can learn from Tommy Vercetti is the importance of adaptability. Life, much like Vice City, is unpredictable and chaotic. Plans fall apart, alliances shift, and opportunities arise when you least expect them. Tommy teaches us that success doesn't come from rigidity, but from the ability to adjust to new circumstances. He doesn't cling to the past or lament his losses. Instead, he views every setback as an opportunity to rethink his strategy and move forward. In our own lives, adaptability is crucial, whether it's navigating a career change or dealing with personal challenges or managing relationships. The ability to reassess and adjust is what separates those who thrive from those who merely survive. Tommy's story reminds us that while we can't control the chaos around us, we can control how we respond to it. Number four, vision is meaningless without action. Tommy's philosophy also emphasizes the importance of pairing vision with action. It's not enough to dream of success or envision a better future. You have to be willing to take the steps, however difficult or dangerous they may be, to make that vision a reality. Tommy doesn't just fantasize about controlling Vice City. He actively works toward that goal, taking calculated risks, forging alliances, and eliminating obstacles. Number five, power lies in adaptability and action. Tommy Vercetti's rise to power in Vice City is a testament to the importance of adaptability. He enters an unfamiliar city with no allies, limited resources, and a failed drug deal hanging over his head. Yet, he refuses to dwell on his misfortunes. Instead, he takes decisive action, forging alliances, eliminating threats, and building an empire from scratch. His ability to assess situations, make bold moves, and seize opportunities is a reminder that success often requires not just ambition, but the willingness to adapt to changing circumstances. Number six, loyalty is a two-way street. While Tommy is ruthless, he's also fiercely loyal to those who prove themselves worthy. His relationship with Ken Rosenberg demonstrates that even in a world of chaos, trust and loyalty can create lasting bonds. However, his partnership with Lance Vance underscores the dangers of misplaced trust. Lance's betrayal serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of discerning who deserves your loyalty. Number seven, ambition without balance leads to isolation. Tommy Vercetti's unrelenting drive to dominate Vice City is both his greatest strength and his ultimate downfall. While his ambition propels him to the top, it also alienates him from those around him. Lance Vance's betrayal and Tommy's increasingly ruthless demeanor highlight the isolating nature of unchecked ambition. This teaches us the importance of balance in our pursuits. Ambition, while necessary for growth, should not come at the expense of meaningful relationships or personal well being. True success lies in finding harmony between power and connection, ambition and contentment. Number eight, control is an illusion. Adaptability is key. Tommy's rise and fall demonstrate that control is a fleeting and often illusory concept. No matter how meticulously he plans or how powerful he becomes, he cannot account for every variable, be it betrayal, unforeseen challenges, or his own flaws. This lesson reminds us the importance of adaptability in the face of life's uncertainties. Instead of clinging to the illusion, we should focus on resilience, flexibility, and the ability to navigate chaos with grace. Freedom, as Tommy's story shows, is not about dominating the world around us, but it's about mastering our response to its unpredictability. Number nine, power without purpose leads to isolation. Tommy's rise to the top is awe inspiring, but it's also a cautionary tale. His relentless pursuit of power alienates those around him, leaving him surrounded by enemies and opportunists. Lance Vance's betrayal underscores the precariousness of power built on distrust and ambition. Tommy's empire is vast, but his personal world grows smaller with each conquest. This teaches us that power, when pursued for its own sake, can become a lonely and isolating endeavor. True fulfillment comes not from domination, but from purpose and meaningful connections. And number 10, adaptability and resilience are key to overcoming adversity. Tommy's story is also one of resilience and adaptability. Despite being thrust into unfamiliar territory and betrayed at every turn, he thrives because he refuses to be a victim. He assesses every situation, recalibrates his approach, and turns setbacks into stepping stones. This is a powerful lesson for life. Adaptability and resilience are essential in overcoming challenges. By taking control of his circumstances, Tommy demonstrates that while we cannot always dictate what happens to us, we can control how we respond. And ladies and gentlemen, that does it here for the video here today, of course. Tommy's story is not just a tale of crime and conquest. It's a philosophical odyssey through the complexities of human ambition, morality, and freedom. He's a character who, despite his larger than life persona, embodies deeply human struggles, the search for purpose, the fear of betrayal, and the desire to leave a mark on an indifferent world. In the end, Tommy's philosophy is one of paradox and contradiction. He is both a ruler and a prisoner, a builder of empires and a destroyer of relationships. His rise to power is as much a triumph as it is a tragedy, revealing the hollow core of unchecked ambition and the fleeting nature of control. As the neon lights of Vice City flicker in the background, Tommy Vercetti stands as a testament to the complexities of the human spirit, a man who, in his relentless pursuit of the world, may have lost himself along the way. In this sense, he's not just a character in a video game, but a mirror reflecting our own struggles with ambition, loyalty, and the meaning of freedom. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that does it here today. And always remember, ladies and gentlemen, always remember to always be smooth, to always be steady, and to always be aggressive. Peace.